What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about my top 11 Marvel Legends figures that need to be remade. These are figures that have ball joints or bad articulation or just bad joints or just need to be updated because they're very hard to find and that sort of thing. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So first on this list is Spider-Girl, which is from the 2015 Ultimate Hobgoblin wave way back then. Seems like way back. This figure, it's not a bad figure as it stands, but it's, number one, it's very hard to find. Number two, it only came with no additional hands, I should say. It just came with the two default hands, the thwipping motion, and that was it. So that kind of sucks. And then, of course, you got the pins in here. You got this is actually pinless, but it's not double. This isn't even double jointed. It's just got the single joints. So yeah, this definitely needs to be updated. Perfect candidate. I'm sure they can do a lot better than this. You've seen it with Silk and some of these other female figures from the Spider-Verse. So I'm sure they could do a really, really nice update for this figure. And also maybe include an unmasked head sculpt. That would be nice. Head articulation is actually pretty good on this fig. Look at that. That actually goes like really up high. That's crazy good for a figure this old. And it goes down like that too. That's pretty impressive there. Ab crunch is not too bad, but not too great either. Very limited. You can't really do anything there. So yeah, she would make a perfect candidate for a remake. Definitely. Spider-Girl. Alright, so for number 2, I kind of cheated on this list. This is actually kind of a team more so than a single figure, but I definitely think these guys need to be remade, and I didn't want to waste 4 slots for 4 different figures on the same team, so I just figured I'll just do them. And that is, of course, the Wrecking Crew. You got the Wrecker over here, 2013. This is from left to right. You got Bulldozer over here, 2015 Age of Ultron wave. You got Pile Driver, 2012 Arnim Zola wave. And then, of course, you got Thunderball, 2012, and he's from the Arnim Zola wave. And I think I didn't miss Wrecker. Wrecker was from the Rocket Raccoon wave. That was 2013. So yeah, these guys, obviously pretty old for the, the years. So, but, one thing I absolutely hate, of course, and I always say this on almost all the figures that have these, is the ball joints. It prevents you from really having great articulation. I don't know. I just do not like them. And it just, I can't stand them. They look terrible. This one doesn't look as bad, but there are some that are really ball, true ball joints that look just absolutely terrible. But these aren't too bad, but these figures can definitely use an update. The price on these guys, some of these guys can be extremely high. I think especially for Thunderball over there, talking about literally like hundreds or 100 something, So the price just alone on these 4 are just getting ridiculous. So that's one reason. But obviously, they just need to be remade. Let me see this guy, for instance. Look at I hate that. The ab crunch on these guys are so old and just huge, and it just makes it. And then of course the muscles and the arms and stuff, they just look so, I don't know, kind of overly big and ridiculous. I just feel like they could do so much better than these that we have, and make them more accessible to people. But yeah, again, they have the pins as well. Articulation, head again, the heads go pretty down and up. They go pretty far actually. But yeah, just an update. There's the pinless, or not pins, there's the pins, I should say, on the legs, and then you even got pins over here. You do have a little foot articulation there as well. But yeah, these definitely could use an update for multiple reasons. Actually, the newest one is this guy. Oh, there goes but Bulldozer is actually the newest one. This guy is from 2015, and he still had the kind of ball joints, you know. See, this is what I'm talking about. His legs just don't, they're just so weird. The way they go up. He can only kind of go at like an angle there, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, these guys definitely really badly need an update. And that is the Wrecking Crew. Next up is a figure I actually do not have in my collection, and that is a modern Hawkeye. He was from the 2013 Rocket Raccoon Build-A-Figure wave. And, I just would love to have a modern day Hawkeye that is updated. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's on the Bucky Cap body. So, it's kind of old and outdated. And they could just make a really nice one with that updated Daredevil type body. We've gotten a couple of old school Hawkeyes. I just really would love to have a more modernized version of him. And also maybe an updated version of Ronin too as well. So that's I know it's kind of 2-in-1 there, but that would be nice, to have a more updated style of Hawkeye. Alright, so next up on the list is Hope Summers, and she is from the 2012 Terex wave. Most of this wave has been actually remade already. If you don't know, we had Shield Steve Rogers, that's been remade. Extremis Iron Man, which came out a couple years ago. We got Constrictor, that's coming out very soon. We have the Thor, the Maximum Thor, that was based on this Thor in the wave that this one came out in. So he's getting re-released. Claw was technically re-released with the Shuri 2-pack in 2018. So remember, this would have been 2012. So 2018, he was kind of, it's basically the same figure, but I guess you could say it's technically not really remade, but re-released, I guess. And then you got another one that wasn't really released yet is the Ghost Rider that came with this wave, and that was like the blue and the red flame variant. It's kind of a bigger Ghost Rider. So yeah, maybe they're slowly remaking this wave. I don't know. Maybe we're on to something here, but just a little fun fact there. But yeah, as for this figure, again, you got the ball joints. Again, very annoying. Doesn't really, you can't really, can't really move her very well, her legs. So that's annoying. And again, single jointed only, so you don't get much articulation in the wrist. Head, there's really nothing there. You can't really even, that's really bad. You got pins in the legs, of course. You're not really gonna get much there. That's okay. But it's just mainly the joints I'm really concerned about, and maybe update her joints, pinless, make her pinless, and obviously double joint that arm. But it's a nice sculpt figure. I really do like I really like that scarf type cape thing that she has on there. And this could easily be updated, easily remade. But it's just a nice figure as it stands, but definitely would love to have an update of Hope Summers. And another thing I should add is this figure did not come with any additional hands, so you only got that trigger finger. She's ready to go, she's ready to shoot people. But yeah, maybe some additional hands as well to add to this figure. Okay, moving on. Next we have Warlock, and he is from he is, I should say, a 2017 Build-A-Figure. If you remember, this is the same wave that the Jim Lee Cyclops came out in, which was at the time was a really big thing, and he was really cool looking. And my God, he got scalped like a. Whew, I remember those prices were pretty big back then, you know. So, but another let's see, he came with the Polaris, Dazzler, Colossus, I believe, Shatterstar, Sunfire, maybe an Old Man Logan, Old Wolverine, or something like that. So yeah, this is a pretty old wave, and you know, the joints on this guy, I don't know, man. Again, this is another kind of weirdly. I mean, it doesn't have to be updated necessarily. I mean, it's not too bad, but there was a problem. I did have an issue. I don't know if this is just my figure or not, but I don't know. I thought it was, but the hands did come out, or the arms. One of the arms came out pretty easily. It's not doing it right now, of course. I don't know. Maybe not. But the joints are kind of a little weird, especially in the legs. You know, I don't know. That's not a ball joint, but they are a little bit weird. Mostly, I would say, though, to really re-release this figure would be for people who did not pick up this Build-A-Figure back then. This is kind of an old one, you know, 2017. Not really, really old, but I'm sure a lot of people missed out on this guy just because, you know, Cyclops was a big figure, big popular figure, and he came with the Build-A-Figure piece, if I'm not mistaken. And so you might have missed out on him back in the day if, you know, just to re-release him. You know, the New Mutants are coming out too. You know, some of these New Mutant figures, I know they released a Sunspot, or is it Sunfire? I get those two confused, for the X-Men 97 wave, and that was kind of like a New Mutants type body. So, you know, it would just be really cool to have him with, you know, re-release him with those new type of figures and stuff like that, and just to update him. You know, it's not a bad figure. I mean, he does have like pins right there. I mean, if that's a big deal, you know, his articulation on the head, not too bad. He is double jointed, so you get that. You know, same thing for his feet. So it's not too bad, but again, this is mostly for people who just did not get him back then. And he's a Build-A-Figure, so I'm sure he's going to be... people have missed out on him. If I could stand him up there. Yeah. So that is Warlock. Alright, next up is Ares from the 2017 Gladiator Hulk Build-A-Figure wave. This was a Thor Ragnarok tie-in. So you had a lot of Thor Ragnarok figures and stuff, and plus the Build-A-Figure was a Thor Ragnarok Hulk, Gladiator Hulk, so that was kind of the theme in that wave. This was actually I guess you could say an updated version of the 2008 Build-A-Figure when Hasbro was first taken over, and they weren't exactly perfecting, you know, figures and stuff like that, but they didn't really do a whole lot. They still had the ball joints, again, it's a common theme, you know, of a lot of these figures. You know, let's see, the arms have limited articulation, you know. Doesn't really go a lot, goes about that far, and that's it. Can't really go anywhere. Legs, get the pins as well. So, yeah, I mean, just, you know, another figure that could use an update. See the head. It's got that cool helmet. I do really like that. That's really cool. Yeah, see, his head doesn't really... I mean, my God, that thing does not go up or down. That's it. So you're very extremely limited right there. Just left and right, and that's it. He doesn't go... This might be a... Let me see if I could pull it off. Yeah, just as I suspected, it's a fixed ball joint. Doesn't move at all. So, you know, maybe you can update that and give him a nice Nice update. I'm sure they could do a lot better than this. Although it is, I mean, I'm not gonna complain. This is a very nice figure as it is, but just a few updates would be really nice with this figure. And who knows, maybe a lot of people are missing this. I know the Dark Avengers line team is starting to come out slowly, so this would be an absolute perfect addition to Remake at this time, because you know you got the six-armed Spidey, you got the new Iron Patriot, you got you know, all the guys from Dark Avengers, so it would be perfect, you know, perfect candidate to remake. So yeah, Ares. All right, so next up on the list would be the female New Mutants Buck. This is technically Danny Moonstar figure, but as you recall, it's a it came with two additional heads, the Wolfsbane and the what's her name? I'm forgetting it. Karma. Yeah, so this was a 2020 Walgreens exclusive. So a lot of people, you know, might not have gotten it because of that. You know, I remember exclusive figures where I couldn't stand them, and I can't stand them now. You know, Target and Walmart exclusives. I'm not a fan of exclusives. So, but this was a Walgreens exclusive, and those were pretty tough to come by back in the day. You know, we'd have to deal with three exclusive type deal, like brick and mortar stores. So you had Walgreens, you had Walmart, and you had Target. And back even further than that, you had Toys R Us. So, you know, it was pretty difficult getting some of these figures, but this one was indeed a Walgreens. But I mean, just an updated Buck would be nice. There's nothing wrong really with this Buck. It's fairly new. I mean, maybe you can get like the double jointed or something. Maybe you can update the pins as well to be pinless over here, and just, you know, it's not a bad Buck. It's just, again, this is another one like I was talking about earlier with the Warlock, who you just might have missed having it. And also another thing I wanted to point out is this is the update. I mean, it's technically it's 97, but I don't know if they're gonna remake this Buck again with the like a normal New Mutants male Buck. So this is what we have right now. We have the female New Mutants Buck from the Walgreens, and then we have the male New Mutants Buck, which is from the 97 line. I don't know if they're going to make a regular comic version male body. That might be the case. Or they could remake the female Buck into matching the yellow of the suit and maybe the navy blue. It's not exactly, I think this is more like a blackish than this guy's kind of navy blue. So one or the other would be nice. You know, either we get a new male New Mutants Buck or we get a new female New Mutants Buck. But that's what I really, really want to match up with these, you know, to have just one set of colors match up, either the 97 or the New Mutants female Buck matching a new Buck with the male. So, yeah. All right, so next up on the list is Ironmonger, one of the Build-A-Figures in 2013. And he's from it's like an Iron Man 3 tie-in wave where they had Iron Patriot and I believe a couple of Iron Man 3 armors in there and stuff. So, yeah, this guy, again, Build-A-Figure, has those ball joints. Although, this ball joint's kind of different in that you can actually move it forward and backwards. Kind of backwards. No, not really. Don't want to force that. But, you know, just an updated version would be nice. His arm articulation, not very great. You can only go so far. But head articulation, not really there. But yeah, I mean, it's just an updated version of this guy would be nice. He's kind of old. Like I said, he is from 2013. So a lot of people probably missed out on this guy too. Back in 2013, a lot of people were not collecting till a couple years after that, I want to say. is when Marvel Legends got really popular. So, you might have missed out on him. It'd be nice to get an updated version of him. Maybe a Build-A-Figure, maybe a deluxe. Definitely can use an update of him. Alright, so next up we have Spider-Man in the Parker Industries suit. This is from the 2-pack with Mary Jane. This was a Toys R Us exclusive, as I mentioned before. They had Toys R Us exclusives in 2017, so another kind of old figure, but not really. Okay, so I don't like this mold for Spider-Man figures. Now, recently, we got Spider-Man 2099 over here updated, and he had the older version, I should say, had the same exact body as he does right now. So, this is not necessarily for just this single figure, but all figures that are in this style, and there's a couple of them still out there. So I would just like all these Spider-Mans updated to this mold. Or I think there's another one that's similar to it, like a symbiote Spider-Man that was close to this, but not exactly that. But I would like to have these, to be honest with you, this buck, I just feel like it's just too skinny. And it's just, and of course you got, those ugly pegs in there, and just, I would like, pinless like this guy. That would be great. Everything pinless, you have the terrible pins in there that really stick out. And it's just, I don't like this style of Spidey. They should have updated this mold a long time ago. And it's just, to me, it just doesn't look good. Way too skinny. It needs to be updated. So it's not necessarily for just this figure, but for all Spidey figures in this type of lanky style to be updated to Mr. Spider-Man 2099 here. That would be great. Next up, we got Ultimate Spider-Woman from the 2015 Ultimate Hobgoblin wave. And again, very much like the Spider-Girl I mentioned earlier, this is on that same type of buck, this kid-like buck. And, it's just could really use updating. Same thing with her. She got the single joints. And, oh, that's really stiff. Dang, yeah. I want to take a chance on that one. Legs, you got those ugly pins in there. Definitely could use an update. But this one, her hair is very heavy, too. So, she doesn't have very much. She can go forward like that, but she can't really go back. A little bit. But her hair prevents that. But just an updated version. I'm sure, again, a lot of people missed out on this figure. This was kind of a tough wave. I remember that Ultimate Hobgoblin wave was kind of hard to find some of these figures. And, it just needs an update. I believe this is another one that came with just two hands. Just these two. And that's it. So maybe include additional hands and stuff, a fist for this side, an open hand for this side. Just little updates to figures that are older. It's a nice figure, but yeah, definitely could use an update. Alright, so the next one is a figure that only had literally one comic figure of this character, and that is Jessica Jones. She goes by the name of Jewel as her superhero name, and she's only had one comic release, and that is this figure right here. That is it. She has never had another figure released that is Jessica Jones. Now, we had the MCU Jessica Jones in the Netflix wave, but we never had another comic book figure of her, which is crazy. Kind of weird. Then again, there are a couple others I could think of that have only one release as well. Cloak and Dagger, I think, come to mind, but she's kind of a popular character. I don't know, she had her own show, so I would think you'd have more figures about her, but anyways, yeah, this is a 4-pack Amazon exclusive back in 2017. Again, she has that outdated mold where he's just single jointed. So she's got pins in her legs and stuff. But yeah, man, just an update on this figure maybe. Or a different version of Jessica Jones in a comic style would be nice. But she definitely needs another figure, I feel like. Like maybe close to her MCU style. But yeah, Jessica Jones definitely needs an update. And just for a little bonus, I threw these guys in here. This is Iron Fist. The one on the left is from the 2016 Dormammu wave, and the one on the right is from the 2015 Allfather wave. And yeah, again, this guy, same thing as Spider-Man. You know, he's got that lanky body. I wish he could have that more updated buck that we were talking about earlier of the Spider-Man 2099. Hopefully, maybe put him on this buck. He would look nice, you know. I think he would look great on that. Just an updated Iron Fist, a more modern Iron Fist, because I know we got that, what was that? It was an anniversary or something, or just that old school style Iron Fist from a couple years ago. We got that recently. And this guy, you know, he has that terrible ball joints, of course. You can see, I mean, this guy definitely needs an update. This guy was from 2015. So, and oh my God, his head is just, yeah. Let me see. The head, not really that great articulation. You know, it's a cool white suit. I really like the suit, but, you know, definitely can use an update. This is a very, very old buck from Marvel Legends first. Not first run, but their, I think, Return of Marvel Legends or something like that, where they had this kind of mold. I don't like this mold at all. Again, for the ball joints, and just, you know, again, make them pinless and get rid of those pins, and definitely the ball joints, you know, definitely want those out. And, you know, that ab crunch is, I don't like that ab crunch either. Not a fan of it, but yeah, these Iron Fist definitely needs an update. Hopefully a nice modern day Iron Fist we can get on a updated buck would definitely be great, and preferably in his green suit. I like the white suit, but you know, the green suit's always him. You know, that's just Iron Fist, man. Green and yellow. All right, so there you have it. That is my list of Marvel Legends that I think should be remade. So now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Which Marvel Legends do you want remade? Let me know in the comments below. But that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.